Hey everyone, I'm Ryan. You're watching or listening to 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, fixing, modding, breaking, reviewing, and playing podcast. And you might have noticed that this episode is off to a very different start. Well, it's because I caught COVID and I'm miserable. And I've been miserable for days and days and days now. It feels like it's been forever. And I don't recommend this at all. 0 stars. 0-star Yelp review here. Do everything you can to avoid and prevent catching COVID because it's not a good time. I'll say that. But anyways, Steve and I were not able to record the podcast together for this obvious reason. I didn't want to get him sick, and honestly, I was not up to it at all. It would have been a disaster. But very thankfully, our butts are being saved by a podcast that I was a guest on a few weeks back, and they just published the episode last week. And that episode was almost 3 hours long because we had such a great time talking with each other. And that kind of like shows you that it's a fun episode. We had a lot of fun talking. It's not a guitar podcast, but the hosts do know guitar stuff. They're fans of 60 Cycle Hum. So go check out the rest of the episode if you like what you hear in this first hour chunk that you're going to hear today, that you are going to hear here today. The name of the podcast is called This Is RAD, and it's hosted by Kyle and Matthew. Gosh, I hope I didn't mess up their names. Kyle and Matthew, I did it. I'm so out of my head right now. This thing, it makes it so you can't think straight, you can't talk straight. You're like cold sweating all the time, you feel weak. There's all sorts of other symptoms that are not pleasant. So yeah, do anything you can to prevent or avoid this. I did a pretty good job for over 2 years, and then I decided to go to NAMM. Was it worth it? I had a good time while I was there. I'll decide later if it was worth it or not. You tell me in the comments if you think it was worth it for me to go to NAMM. So anyways, enjoy this very off-topic segment of a podcast that has nothing to do with guitars, but I'm there, and people that have fun talking to me, who like me, and I like them, are there, and it's a great time. So I'm sure most of you will enjoy it. All right, enjoy. Stay grounded.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to This Is RAD.
Hey everybody.
Yeah,
man,
I know
it's so
hideous
much
sounding,
worse
isn't it?
when it's a guest that we don't know.
that was impressive how mismatched they were.
Yeah.
Wow.
It used to be for a long time, actually. Oddly enough, we're going to be talking about venues later, but Kyle and I both worked at a place called Nerd Melt, which was like a comedy venue behind Meltdown Comics in LA. And we started this podcast in a little studio above the theater. And so we were face to face. We would do it all the time. It was locked in. It sounded perfect, baby. Everybody loved it. And then as soon as
Everybody loved
it was like COVID, and we're like, oh, we got to start doing this over the internet now. And boy, there's just no way to make it sound
learned
good.
that it turns out you can do something a long time and actually never get better.
No.
Oh yeah.
Yo, I know. I know.
Well, hey everybody, this is part of our fun saga going here. We got the fun guitar men to show our image, and now we have one of the fun guitar men.
Yeah.
Here we
How's
are.
it going? Ryan Burke from
I'm-
60 Cycle Hum. You're real.
I'm real. I'm a fun guitar man. I'm ready to have
Realized
guitar
leading out the
fun.
gate that I was a little too confident with my dumb thing, but I'm gonna stand by it. Sometimes you got
Also, I just want to point out that we're wearing like inverse
matchy
shirts.
matchy. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Holy crud.
Oh, that's fun.
That's
Oh, you guys
wild.
are shirt brothers.
Yeah. What
Wearing
brand is
stripes
yours?
like an asshole.
This is Homage. They're a brand out of Cleveland.
He's an Ohio
Cleveland,
boy.
Columbus. Yeah, I'm Ohio boy deep down. This is actually behind me right now. I always put something fun on my green screen behind me, but this is actually the view from the stage of the Odeon, which was like my home venue back in my old days of running around Cleveland before I decided to move to LA and just hate the sun.
Are you? Because I know you guys are based out of SoCal in San Diego. Are you originally a California guy?
Yeah, I'm born and raised in the town that I currently own a home in.
Shit!
So it's like I am a townie, which is extremely super rare in Southern California because everyone here is from somewhere else and they're going to go somewhere else. when you meet someone who was born and raised here and like their family was here.
Oh yeah,
like,
I'm
it's
second
like
generation Californian right here.
Yeah, it's like
born
meeting
in
a
Van
unicorn.
Nuys, lived in Simi. Yeah, just I did not know how weird that was until I went to college and started, and all these people were like, "You're from California?" I'm like, "Yes," as were the kids from my school and people I grew up around.
They have hospitals where people are born.
They make new people in California. That's weird.
Yeah, we're all pretty.
They do. They make them here, but it's with a scalpel.
Yeah. Oh man. So yeah, I always crack up when I see people other places complain about Californians moving to their state or wherever. And I'm like, you know that everyone here is from somewhere else. Like,
yeah,
there's very few people who are born Californian. Like you all come here. And then like 4 years later, I'm Californian. I'm moving to Idaho. But you came here from Missouri 4 years ago. And now the people in Idaho are like, Californians. It's like,
and it's the reverse of like the people who move to New York and then leave New York. Because when it's you move to New York and then you leave New York, you're like, well, I spent some years in New York, so I got some toughness on me. And when you move from LA, you're just like, ugh, thank God I'm not in LA anymore.
I don't know how you LA people do it. I every time I go to LA, it's to just pass straight through it. And like, I try to make it as close to like 3 a.m. as possible.
It's the key is to just really have an affinity for evil.
That tracks.
Pretty clutch. If you can really look at something and go like, that really is awful. Like you're gonna be fine. You just have you can't look at it and go like, this should be different.
Right. No, it's like living inside of Frank Miller movies.
Yeah, exactly. Just like there's no good, but like sometimes it's fun.
Right.
I think it helps a ton when you just admit that life is better when you move to the valley and you don't live in like LA proper.
I'm real the shepherd of just trying to get people out of Los Feliz and into the valley.
Yeah, because Kyle's up in Simi Valley and I'm in Van Nuys. And like there's times where I'm like, man, I wish that Van Nuys would like secede from Los Angeles so I just don't have to say that.
The death LA. Of cool is the secret to freedom.
Yeah, because the real secret is I can look out my window and see parking spots.
Right.
And that's where it's just like I might as well not be in LA.
Yeah.
Because
my sister lived in LA for a while. She was a cardio tech at Cedar Sinai. She worked at Cedars, and she basically discovered because she got a condo or an apartment like 2 miles away from work, and she discovered like that's too far.
It's like, it can be very, very annoying. Yes.
when you live in LA, you have to live as close as possible to work because like you almost want to be walking distance because it's just the commute is just ridiculous. No matter where you go, however far away it is, it's going to take 2 hours. Like,
Yep. It's just too long.
I live out of my car ostensibly, and like my job the last couple of years was an almost 90-minute commute in the morning. It was exciting, but like it was really great to learn I like podcasts a lot because that was a real game changer when it's like, now you can't beat me. I'm being entertained in traffic.
Yeah, you're only you're paying $6 a gallon to listen to podcasts.
Yeah, it's like turns out that's how much I'm willing to give Mark Maron.
Right,
$6 a mile.
You know what? We should divide up those gas taxes and make sure some of that is going to the podcasters. They're the real heroes.
And if we're going by the hour, our show gets a nice little break there. So I'm fully supporting this.
Yeah, we're gonna spread the money out evenly, right? It doesn't go by merit or
no, it should go surely by volume. Merit, volume.
Yeah.
Yes. Excellent. 400 and some episodes. Every one of them way too long. This is perfect.
This is all a joke. If for everyone listening that's thinking about starting a podcast, there's no way to make money doing podcasts. So don't even try. Don't even try.
And you live the even because I've lived in podcasting as most of my life and work for like a decade now, and I still look at YouTube and just go like, fuck, how like there's so many extra layers there, and all of them like are hard.
It's so much more work. Like we started out doing the podcast first, Steve and I, like 8 years ago, and once I figured out like what we were doing. We just decided like, don't say anything on the show that we have to edit out. And once we decided that, it's like, it takes me 15 minutes to edit a podcast episode. Then I decided, I better go to video because I'm doing stuff on YouTube. And if I do the podcast on YouTube, it'll get extra views. Oh, wow. It takes me 5 hours to edit now.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's been a big reason why we never have transitioned into doing YouTube videos, is because how streamlined we really are about all of this. And I mean, it used to be just all we needed was a Zoom and our microphones.
We used to get real like I love like the H4 and the H6 so much that for a while we got the flow down to it became, where can I record us that's weird? Like
Right.
what bringing it out.
Yes.
So, and our still standing apex record is open boat in the middle of the ocean.
Oh, I love
Not like
that.
middle of the ocean, but
Yeah.
a couple miles off of shore, and did a full,
and it went about
full
as
2
well
hours.
as you're thinking. Listenable, but a little hard.
I just listen to it and go like, if I'm just the sheer audacity of it powers it through.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's some gems in there too, a little bit within that episode, but we don't need to talk about people's bathroom habits on a boat.
On the edge of a boat. Or whether it's a Blue Encore 100 commercial, because you really don't pick up the stream sound because that's small pickup area.
Oh, geez.
We did a couple of things like that. There was one where Steve and I were we were driving to a guitar manufacturer's shop in Sacramento. We discovered it would be cheaper to fly into San Francisco and then drive to Sacramento. So we had like this 1.5 hour long drive, and we podcasted while Steve drove the rental car.
There you go.
And I was holding my mic and I was holding his mic, and we just talked.
Oh yeah.
Been there.
And then,
on our way to a Renaissance fair.
Ah, yeah.
Oh man, a Ren fair. Man, that's that you should have podcasted the Ren fair.
Oh, we did.
Okay, good.
Oh yeah, no, it's
well, you say good. I don't know if listeners said that.
It was early. We were figuring things out, but
yeah.
but yeah. So it's always been kind of a favorite part of this stuff for me, and it's even then, like I've brought some cameras to stuff, and even then I'm like, well, this is even hard. Like I can just point a microphone and content can happen, but the thing, I got to frame this, got to make sure every part of it's like understandable and works for a length of time without being completely inane.
Yeah, and the worst part of it, honestly, the hardest part of it is you have to watch the whole damn thing. Yeah. Like you edit a podcast, and if you just know like, oh, everything we said is fine, and it's just like you edit in the intro, you check levels, you maybe do a little EQ trick, a little compressor trick. You slap in the outro and you're done. 15 minutes. You just edited a thing. With a video, it's like, okay, now I have to put all the graphics in here. I have to wait for all the beats. I have to, like watch the whole damn thing. It takes forever.
Yep.
Why did I do this to myself?
and like I know I completely trap myself in gimmicks all the time. And so I'm sure like for you're just like, oh, I said 2 Princetons, got to put the 2 Princetons package in, got all of that stuff. Like, oh, why did I say my thing there? Because if I don't put the thing in, people are gonna comment on it, so I got to make sure to put the edit in there.
They get so angry if you don't do the thing. Maybe not even angry, they get hurt, which is worse.
Yes. Exactly. But we should move forward. Kyle,
sure.
I know you are excited to talk about the thing that doesn't
rads.
Bring you stress, but brings you nothing but joy. What did you see this week?
And I was vague about it in the last episode, so I could talk about it on this one. I saw the Bob's Burgers movie on Friday.
Ooh, how was that?
It's really good. So I slowly but surely, as other shows ended, Bob's Burgers just became my favorite show on TV. And it's been interesting because a friend of mine was, when I first met him, was a PA on the show, and he is now the writer's assistant for the show, and he has worked on the movie since the first draft 4 years ago. And I didn't know any of this stuff until later than that, but it's been really fun as somebody who's like worked on a lot of stuff where you can't talk about it, and you have 4 years worth of NDAs sitting around. Oh, man, like he rented out, him and a couple of the board artists rented an entire row of seats at the Alamo Draft House, because so many of us that are close with them, they got to watch us all watch this thing they've lived in. And it was, a really neat thing, really like proud of my buddy. And then on top of that, the fact the movie rules like is also like a nice final bonus.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Has Bob's Burgers ever put out like a bummer episode?
It has not. It's it's so consistent. It's insane. And the movie, here's the thing I'll say. What I love about the movie is it is very much a Bob's Burgers movie, and it is the best way I can think to say it is like tasteful. It does all the stuff you want, but like unlike a lot of other like animated movies that go big and they're just like, we're gonna do the craziest, biggest story we've ever done. This one is really more like a long Bob's Burgers that is animated beautifully. You know, they can do lighting stuff. Everything is animated on ones. Like there's so you can do camera angles that you couldn't do before. So it's weird because it's like watching like a beautifully shot movie, but that is still a Bob's Burgers storyline for 2 hours.
They already had like really high quality writing and acting and it's just personalities and everything like that. So it's like, what else? Where do you go from there? It's just going to be all production value.
And it's so fun. You also like when they throw in a ton of characters. Like I like, you know, spoiler alert, King Trashmouth shows up, and I reacted the way like people do at like Marvel movies when they see something flat by. Literally, oh my god, it's King Trashmouth. My favorite raccoon.
The rocket can go fly off on a rocket for all I care. I got the trash one.
Exactly. And so it is a lot of fun, and it's, if you love the show, it's such a gift to people who love the show. There's great little fan moments. It's really funny. The songs in it are really good. There's a song with Carnies that is a real banger.
Oh, I like the subject of carnies.
Oh, carnies play a real central role in it. Like,
it's hard, honestly, if you mention carnies anywhere in the plot of something, a little piece of me just like perks up a little bit. Carnies, you say? Where is this going?
It's sorry, my brain went down a real carny hole there, which is a word I'm never going to say again.
Carny hole.
Yikes. Yuck.
Well, unlike the word
it's fun when you learn a new term that can upset you. You didn't walk into this going like, well, there's not two words that are going to put together and ruin my life a little bit.
You just saying those two words together started a band in the Midwest somewhere. Like...
I'm going to get that 7-inch. But yeah, so it's it's my big report is just, it's good. Go see it. It's if you like the show, it's that. If you don't like the show, then fuck off and still go see it, because we need to goose those numbers. It's up against Maverick.
Oh my gosh, the biggest thing.
I don't know if I have any interest in Maverick.
Neither do I, outside of that. Like Burnside is, I guess, said that it tracks really well and might be the movie as your
it's the way people are talking about it feels like it's going to be like the blockbuster thing of this decade.
But I don't like the original. Like,
neither do I. And no, that's the thing, is like people, there's a lot of people who are like, I love to shit on the original, and this movie's like,
it's good,
another world good.
Yeah, I know someone who had never seen the original until recently. They're like, oh, this movie's coming out, better watch the original one. And then they were like, oh man, this sucks. I don't like this at all. And then they went and watched the new one, and they're like, oh man, this is so much better. And what I tried to explain to this person is like, Top Gun has this reputation as like a key action movie or something like that, or like a key cultural touchstone. And what you don't realize is that it fit in this really weird genre that was happening at the time, that was like masculine romance movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's how do you define that? Like, yeah, and Tom Cruise did a bunch of those. Like he was like, Top Gun is like one in like the cookie cutter trilogy. Like he did Days of Thunder, which was like NASCAR Top Gun, and then he did another one I can't even remember. He did like 3 of these things, and they're all the same thing. Like, oh, I can never ride a horse again. Oh, there's a horse competition. Well, I've got to ride a horse again.
Somebody broke down that the plot to Tom Cruise movies is he's great, and everyone tells him he's not great, so he's got to be great so they can apologize and then point out they were wrong. He is great.
Yeah, and then most of it is just like, you know, beauty shots of him riding a motorcycle. Or
there's very little jets in Top Gun. I remember as a kid going like, I was under the impression there were jets in this film. A lot of people sitting around a piano. A piano is not a jet.
That's what I think is a big part of this. Not only are there jets, but they were jets that were like filmed like real. Like it's not a green screen
again
thing. Like he went inside of a jet and it was like he learned how to fly a freaking jet for this movie.
He also joined the band
flying
Jet to study.
At one point.
People were watching for hours. Like, is the guy from Rocket Ages playing rhythm guitar for Jet?
I could totally see them using that song though. as he's like flipping on the jet. Are you gonna beat my Top Gun?
So
like, oh boy, they're phoning in the lyrics.
I live in a part of San Diego that is the town right next to the base.
Oh shit!
That used to be the Top Gun base. It turned into it was a naval Air Force base, and now it's a military base. So we don't have as much as that going on. But my whole childhood was like hearing like the F-14s or whatever break the sound barrier over my house, and just like when the movie came out, it was like, there they are, there's Top Gun, yay! But like when it's all day and you're trying to watch a movie or talk on the phone or something, it's like, hold on, I gotta wait 3 minutes because the jets are doing it.
Man, I could totally see never ever wanting to come close to that movie then. For sure.
You know who is probably stoked about this Top Gun movie because I feel like they were really hitting their lowest point of public awearness is the Blue Angels.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like in the 90s,
man, this is gonna be a good year, guys.
We're gonna see
as
more
long
of the
as
Blue
none
Angels
of you crash and kill
again.
anybody this year. This is gonna be great.
It's like the number of events that I've been at or been advertised to where part of the major thing is like, and the Blue Angels are gonna be there.
I also grew up near an air base, and I would see air shows all the time, and I was always kind of fascinated by them, but quickly became terrified when I found out that's one of the highest risk things that you can attend.
Yeah,
in the United States of America.
But that's because they're all full of old plane guys who are just like, if I die today, it's fine. I got to see another plane.
There's just like the chance of you like encountering an accident is really high there compared to other sorts of forms of entertainment. And then on top of it, there's no small accident.
No.
When they have an accident, it is an accident.
They're all trying to like buzz the audience and stuff like that and give you your thrills. And it's like, you got all these biplanes. They're like 200 years old. And, there's some dude with a handlebar mustache slapping duct tape on things to make it keep working.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember about 3 years ago when that guy crashed his replica Nazi plane on the 101.
Oh, yeah.
And I got stuck in 5 hours of traffic heading home. It was the day a supervillain was born somewhere because that Nazi plane crashed on the 101 and there was like a chemical truck spill. So it was like 70% of the freeways in Southern California were fully shut down. And it's literally I'm like, all right, something better rise out of this and rob a bunch of banks or I'm fucking furious. Yeah.
You're hoping for Daredevil, but you end up with Toxic Avenger. And it's just,
I'll take it. I love the monster hero.
Yeah.
So either you guys got some weekly rads going?
I got a quick one. I got a quick little one. As I've talked about on here recently, I've been getting back into cooking a bunch of stuff. And this was part of a chicken sandwich that I made, but Laura and I are just into savory waffles.
Ooh.
Savory waffles. In particular, the one that we made last night to go along in this chicken sandwich is just your regular Bisquick waffle, but with some shredded up white cheddar and green onions.
Yes.
Diced up super small in it.
Into this.
Man, it's excellent. It's good. It's starting to open up a whole new realm of ideas for us of like how to use waffles inside of a regular meal and it not have to be a breakfasty twist.
So my family has made a thing out of adding shredded cheese to pancakes and waffles like my entire life.
Really?
And it like, so that's not new to us. The green onion sounds amazing.
It's fantastic. Got it.
But yeah, like cheese in your pancakes or your waffles, it's way better than you think it's going to be. And people always ask me like, oh, do you put syrup on it? Hell yeah, I put syrup on it.
Yeah.
It still works, baby. And the cheese gets crispy where it met with the pan and then it like sucks up the syrup and it's like,
and cheese is like one of the handful of things I'll do, like, because I'm not a salty sweet guy, but like cheese, one of the ones that get past. This is you're putting terrible like carby ideas in my head.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's about to get worse. Listen to this. Try taking like mayonnaise, go like 50-50 or even maybe a little bit heavier on the mayonnaise size, but with mayonnaise and syrup, and then pour in some paprika into that and mix it all up.
Yeah, you've lost me entirely. You're
crazy.
Now have to go to jail.
I am not a mayonnaise person. I'll use mayonnaise as an ingredient.
I'm not a big mayonnaise person by itself. It's there's just something that it does with the savoriness, but it also holds together.
I thought I told you to get to jail.
Way.
You said mayo, maple syrup, and paprika.
Yes.
All right.
I'm
It's
actively
fantastic.
vomiting in my mouth with that idea.
It does sound like
I
it does
don't
sound like
know
Kyle
why,
juice.
also
but I'm, like,
doesn't know how
recoiling.
any sauces are made, and he's one of those people that will
But I love a
recoil at it and be
sauce.
like,
I
yeah,
find
that's
it-
the thing. You've probably had a sauce very much like this before, but you just didn't know.
Yeah,
it.
but don't tell me the ingredients. That's a simple solution.
Fair
to so
enough.
many things. Like
I'm kind of at the place in my life where I think I'm done with ranch. I think I'm just done with it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have mostly coming from deep Midwest. Actually the last time I went back to Ohio, which is funny because I'll be going back again in a number of weeks. But I went to an all-you-can-eat chicken wing place with my dad. It was just like, oh, old time's sake, let's go get chicken wings. Even though I never actually did that with my dad, he doesn't like chicken wings. Don't know why I was like, let's go get chicken wings, Dad. But he was game.
Were you
for it.
confusing him with a different dad?
Maybe.
It's like a really weird interpersonal.
I mean, honestly,
Mandela effect.
my dad's name is Tim, but my buddy whose name is Tim, his dad's name is Tim, and that Tim loved chicken wings. So maybe I did.
It's the Tim timeline problem.
The
you
Tim
know?
timeline problem.
Yeah. So the
But,
Timverse.
Tim Timeline, starring Tim Timeline.
Tim, the Toolman timeline.
This is turning into a Rick and Morty thing.
Yeah, we get there.
So I'm going down the line and I'm piling up everything on my plate. And I am noticing that people are walking around this table with just everything covered in ranch or blue cheese dressing. And but plenty of ranch. I mean, you could smell it. And as I finally get down to the end, I see they've got no shame at all left. They're like, you know what? Metal serving containers to put something in for people to like ladle it out of.
A soup
Too
tureen.
small. It was a literal bucket with ranch written in Sharpie and just a comment.
How did you not take a picture
comedy-sized
with
ladle.
that? Like that's.
I might not have had my phone.
I'm
I don't
asking a
know.
stranger so I can
But-
get everybody I'm with in that photo. We're with a bucket of
Yeah.
ranch in a public space.
Sir, I didn't bring my phone with me. Could you please take a picture of this and email it to me?
It's like the people who are doing that, they're not like, hey, let's go to the chicken place. They're like, let's go to the ranch bucket.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That should be the name of the restaurant, Ranch Bucket.
The
God,
ranch
that'd do
bucket.
so well.
Oh my gosh. It
I
would.
There'd be
thought
a lot
you
of
were
people
gonna
like big
house
coats,
out
like
there.
it's a porn shop, like a hat walking, and they don't want people to know that they're going there, but they're going.
I thought you were gonna say there was a ranch fountain at the end, like a chocolate fountain, and you just like,
Oh no, that's too fancy for
I didn't
Warren,
know I could
Kyle.
feel disappointment over something I didn't know existed until right now.
No,
So
where I'm
I'm
from,
still-
that has to be in a McDonald's because we had all fancy McDonald's.
that's
and all
right.
glass McDonald's, a McDonald's with a koi pond in it.
what?
That's still my favorite. It's some
a
man.
koi pond
A
McDonald's?
koi pond. It all comes from one of the regional offices, like main regional offices for McDonald's is in Niles, Ohio, which is right next to the mall that's all around there. So every McDonald's around there needed to step their game up and they all
yeah.
did something. But the one that's right next to the place is a 3-story all glass McDonald's in just such a poor area of the country.
That makes it
It's
worse.
an embarrassly poor part. And,
So it's like-
it's
People going in for their 99-cent fish
Oh,
fillet
yeah.
because that's all they can eat, and they're walking over like a glass koi
Yeah.
pond sort of thing. It's like,
it's ridiculous.
oh,
There was a
that
player piano with the Moon
sucks.
Man up at the top for a long time. It
No,
was all great. There's just like every single McDonald's had to have like a big flashy thing.
So Jack in the Box their office is based out of San Diego, and for a brief
Wow.
period, they were testing out fancy Jack in the Boxes that had like an alternative menu, and so they built a couple of these things around San Diego, and they had like fireplaces, and they
Oh
had
my
like
God, I wish
fancy
I knew about
lighting.
this.
They
And
Starbucksed
stuff.
it.
Yeah, they Starbucks did.
Hell
But it was like
yes.
it was fancier than that in a way. It's like they were really going for it, like exploring this concept, and like it was still just Jack in the Box. You know, it's like
wow.
egg rolls that are frozen in the middle and stuff. You know,
Love it. Jack in the Box is one of those things where like it is just the right combination of weird
Yeah.
and the shitty to consistency rate that I'm just like, I
There was-
respect your game.
There was a brief period in the late 90s where Jack in the Box got really good. It was right when they brought back Jack.
Yep.
And they had like the Jack combo or whatever that was like $4. It was a double burger that came with a milkshake and fries and stuff. And it was really good. And the reason it was really good was because they were trying to recover from a press disaster where they got caught using kangaroo meat.
Wait, is that still on the menu?
I would know. They could do that now and just market it as kangaroo meat, and people would be like, well, I've got to try this.
Yeah.
But they were doing it instead of beef.
Yo, do like gator meat, kangaroo meat, like, you know, and then just put question mark and like, it's probably not people, but like, you're going to dare. And I'm just like, I will.
Right.
There was a Chinese food restaurant that me and my friends all loved growing up. It became a pretty common Sunday ritual that we would go get all you can eat Chinese, just gorge ourselves, and then go see a movie.
Yes.
And then one week we went, and there's like their police are taping it up and all kinds of stuff. We're like, what's going on? They're like, you'll find out. Check the news. And like that evening, it was just like, oh, nope, they shut this place down. They've arrested the owners. They were getting fake meat from Canada. It was cat and rat.
Wow.
And then to this day, and I mean, my girlfriend, bless her heart, she had wonderful pet rats, and I adored them. But
they look at you wrong, and you'll eat their asses.
Man, you put the right sauce on it, and I will eat cat or rat again.
Yeah, you fry it up crispy, and you throw it in a sweet sauce or the tangy sauce or something like that. Get it spicy.
It was so good.
Yeah, I bet it was.
It's so bad.
The source is Canada.
Yep.
Like
black market Canadian meat. I mean, this was in Ohio.
Canada can commit crimes too.
Yeah, they were just taking it right over Lake Erie.
It has to be French Canadians doing that, right?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. That's without question.
How stupid do we think the Americans are?
I just recently discovered the movie The Freshman, the Matthew Broderick, Marlon Brando joint from 1990 that has a Komodo dragon in it. Fun comedy. I did not know that the crux of it is that this kid, it finds out that this guy who he's working for may or may not run a secret, constantly moving restaurant for the ultra rich that exclusively sells food made from endangered species.
Oh my gosh.
That's a pretty cool idea.
I've always said that I wish, and this might exist, who knows, the world that we live in, this might exist. I've always said I wish that there was a membership level at the San Diego Zoo or at any zoo or at SeaWorld, whatever, where you pay enough money, and when an animal starts to get old, they start sending you emails, and they're like, you know, the giraffe is getting close, guys. Like, you know, mark your calendars, you know, knock off the week here. We're going to do something, and we'll invite all the, you know, the heavy donators in, and you all get to sample.
They should have like a poll, like on Discord or somewhere, that you get to pick how it's going to be prepared. And
right.
Sort of like a couple different options.
Unless something small dies, there's going to be plenty of meat there.
Yeah.
You know? It's going to, I mean, try all sorts of different stuff. Like you have an elephant, you know, you have a white rhino buffet. I just want my
GBQ, just slow cooked giraffe.
Yeah. Like, even if it's not something like crazy big, like what if it's like a penguin? You want to try penguin? They're gonna have penguin, you know, like one of the penguins like had an unfortunate sliding accident, you know. Animals have to die there.
I'll dress like a polar bear to eat it if I have to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a hunter. I never was, but I totally understood that, like, we hunt it so that we eat it. And if something dies, there's a reverence in consuming its flesh.
Yes.
I mean,
so when you look at their face in the woods as they run from you, as you count to 100, and then you and, you know, your friend begin finally making the moves to make human soup.
A lion gets old, and it's just like that.
Animal soup.
Got some gray hair. Everything is just going naturally.
We're gonna get so many messages.
You know, I used to hunt when I was with my dad when I was a teen, and you know, it was fun sometimes, but like most of the time I'd end up in the pot, and the rabbit would be cutting the carrots, and it's just like, that's never fun, you know.
Yeah.
That's a Warner Brothers show.
This is a hot bath.
I love it. Ryan, have you had anything that you have found rad in a weekly manner?
Oh man, a couple things. I went and watched Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Ooh,
and that was
I still haven't seen that either.
super duper good, like super good. So I definitely recommend that. I watched the new Kids in the Hall.
Oh, how's that? I've been meaning to watch it.
I didn't have really a lot of expectations, and I did some self-reflecting after I just binged the whole thing in like 2 nights or whatever. I was like, they haven't really done the Kids in the Hall thing since the show. They've done a movie, and then they did like 2 specials that were episodic, but they were like a completely like a storyline.
Yeah, I was about
thing.
to say, this is the first time they've done sketches in like 30 years.
It felt really nice.
Ooh, that's what I'm hoping for.
That's
it honestly
exactly the kind of thing I want to hear.
It's not going to make you like bust a gut like, I can't believe it's so funny, but it felt like the thing. It felt like the real thing that you want, you know?
That's how they've always felt to me. People that would really, because I mean, Kyle and I we're Kyle even more so, but we're like, you know, we're got our fingers deep into the pie of comedy at this point. And
sure,
there's always so many people that are just like Kids in the Hall. And I'm like, I enjoyed Kids in the Hall, but man, you sure are a feverish fan. I never found them to be this hysterical, like, oh my gosh, my gut hurts thing. There's always been like, there's this like element of like intelligence making something stupid,
right?
That has like a coyness to the laugh.
Smart people being dumb.
Yeah,
you know,
and like I've always really liked that, but I never found them to be just fall out of my seat funny.
Yeah.
I would connect this to the way I feel about like Bill and Ted.
Yes.
And like, Dude, Where's My Car? It's like depictions of people that are dumb but good.
Yes.
Like there's something about that feels really nice.
One of my favorite types of humor and character. Like
right.
And I mean, Bill and Ted were a huge, but like Kids in the Hall were a big influence on me when I was kind of like, even before I was like writing or thinking about comedy and stuff like that. Just their stuff always felt different. And it was always sort of like, there was like a strangeness to it that was like, but that, because I was never a big Monty Python guy, because like that always felt sort of like too big. And Kids in the Hall had a little bit quieter version of the weirdness that was kind of a little closer to like what I was as a kid. Was like, I'm weird, but I'm not like, everyone look at me weird. I'm sort of just like, I'm uncomfortable, but also like, this is just kind of funny.
Yeah.
And
kind of the whole thing kind of has the mood of like when you're in the middle of the winter and you're just a little bit stir crazy. Absolutely. And you just start coming up with dumb humor with whoever you're living with or whatever, whoever's around. And you just start saying stuff that's dumb because you just like haven't been outside forever. And it's just kind of dark and dreary. Like,
do you get any Scott Thompson monologues in it? Because that's the one thing I keep being wondering if they'll do. Because for whatever reason, that was such a thing for me on the old show. And I think it was because like, again, Scott Thompson was like first like gay figures for me. And when you just do those like the gay Dracula one's always the one I think of. Like I those had like a weird impact on me as a young person, in a way that I haven't fully processed or figured out. But like when they came back, I was like, oh, is that going to be a thing?
They had a sketch revisiting that character, but it wasn't the monologue. You don't expect to get fan service in the way of like, oh, what's been going on?
Even happier.
What's been going on with Chicken Lady? You know, like you're not going to get that.
So they're doing like real new sketches.
Yeah,
that's even better. I was worried it was going to go the other direction.
It's a more new stuff than revisited material?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
cool.
I'd say that for sure.
Do they do a Crush You, or are they even like?
They do have a Crush You, but it's like, you know, this is one. They do one, and it's like, you know, they you know have developed on the concept. They have, and there's a lot of stuff that's like kind of self-depreciating, like, yeah, we're doing this, you know, like, like you're too old to be doing this. Yeah, I know.
It's interesting because it's also like guys who never stopped working. Like all 5 of those guys have kept working in comedy like the whole time. So like, it's I feel like sometimes you see shows like that. You know, I'll name no sketch shows that have been revived in the last decade as examples, but that feel very much like they picked up where the old show left off, but that makes it feel kind of ancient because the tone of the initial show, you know, even though all 3 seasons were so classic, like you just don't feel like they can kind of capture that magic, and they don't flip it and try to do something new. And I think that's exciting to hear on this. Is like, I'm always worried, especially with like sketch shows.
It feels very much like they know their age. they're not. Oh, but a proper warning. There's a lot of dongs in it.
I mean, it's bring forth the dong. We're entering the dong era comedy here.
They're not shy about their Canadian male nudity.
I don't know if you.
That's got to be the best part of becoming an old guy who doesn't care is that you can just hang dong wherever, whenever.
Right.
And you're just like, whatever. Are you?
Is this funny?
Like...
Is this funny?
The answer is yes every time. Dong always funny. If you haven't watched Jackass 4.5,
oh man,
do it when your kids are and I can't even possibly accidentally walk into the room because
I started to watch.
Dong quotient on 4.5 is through the roof.
I started to watch 4 and I was like, and then I heard that 4.5 is so much better. Like it has like the soul. Well, the soul's a lot better.
It's interesting. I think
I like
4, if you give it, I had the same thing early in the movie, and it really does end up sticking the landing and feeling real jackassy. And then this is amazing because it's a documentary this time about getting everybody together, making the movie, how they found the new kids, and then like it's weird how because they even like literally open the documentary
if you're really well versed in the Jackass universe,
where they're just like this seemed like a terrible idea and we all discussed it being a terrible idea, and so then we were like, let's make the terrible idea. And then it's like it's interesting watching them have all the same thoughts you did when you heard that Jackass was coming back. Like you're like, okay, so we were all on the same page, where you hear this sentence and go, this seems like a terrible plan.
Yeah. Everyone's
kill an old man.
Like we know how long it takes to heal when you get a little bit older. It's just a little bit older, and like your body doesn't bounce back anymore.
It's been neat though. Like my girlfriend is a real like stunts and skates and roller derby thing, and like she is like the Jackass guys are her hero to a certain extent at this point. So that was an interesting thing to see though, is like watching people who it wasn't a part of their world when they were a kid, like discover it, and it was wild to just have that same thing where she just starts watching and going, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen, and I don't know why.
I can't wait. Like I've got a 7-year-old son. I can't wait till he's old enough that I can start showing him stuff like that. You know, it's gonna totally. Probably gonna be, you know,
if you were my dad, it was last week.
I
say I can't maybe just my bit of advice, don't show him Porky's yet. 7's too young.
What do you think is the right age to show a kid?
13. Middle school, 100%. By that point, he has heard and seen everything and just hasn't told you, so it's not gonna
right.
Yeah.
Like by the time you're 13, every vile kid around you whose parents did not wait has shown your kid everything. So that point, you might as well just give him some taste.
I try to beat all the other kids to the punch and explain stuff to them before like kids can, you know, tell them what a virgin is or something like that.
I mean, I don't have a kid, but to me that sounds like smart parenting.
Yeah, you got to explain it as an adult before they hear it from some jackass kid. That's just like
I guess it's just like
before a kid tells you can't get it pregnant standing up or in the water, like you really want to like crack those down.
Right.
Yeah. But like I guess like how much does a kid emulate the stuff that they're watching? If like everything they watch they're emulating, well then maybe I'd be like, oh, maybe I'll wait.
But I did all those things before there was a television program that did it. I was well aware that fire and throwing up were awesome before Jackass told me it. Like,
I mean, yes, that's true.
That's always my thing, is I feel like we always think, and again, some of this comes out of my teaching days, but like everybody thinks that like, oh man, media is influencing all this. I'm like, no, all this stuff just exists, and you become an adult and forget what a depraved nightmare person you were. And go, no, my childhood was, you know, free from all of this awful stuff.
Oh no, well, I mean, I almost set a forest on fire, not in California. Very different scenario.
Somehow less illegal.
You can play with fire in Ohio and it's okay.
That's their new motto, and you're like, oh, you're getting kind of desperate to get people out here.
Come play with our fire.
Yeah, play with our fire with impunity. We love fire so much our rivers light on fire.
Very true. But without a doubt, I would have never rode my bike into a porta potty at a decently high speed had I not watched Jackass.
See, and I watched that one and was like, I'm good. Let's get Burnside to do it.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it, guys.
Yeah, like me and my friends would do all sorts of dumb skateboard things. Like I had a friend that built a ramp, and then he started like like putting together shoes that had Velcro on the bottom and Velcroing his shoes to his skateboard so like he could get it to stick to his feet. And then he had this hill by his house and we would line it up, and it lined up with this park really nicely. So we go down the hill and then you shoot into the park, and then we would go off the ramp and then land in like the sandy area at the park or whatever. And like stuff that we could have easily broken our legs and our arms and everything like that.
I'd do that now.
Yeah. It was a blast. And we, like we're, young kids, like, one kid gets himself a paintball gun, and now we all have a paintball gun among us. We just have one paintball gun.
Yeah.
So we're just like playing shoot each other with the paintball gun. You're supposed to have more than one of these things, but we're just running around shooting each other and like,
you're supposed to be trying not to get hit, but instead you just pass it all around and be like, okay, now I want to see what it feels like when I get hit here.
Who can get the biggest welt? This is what kids do.
Your friend buys 3 throwing knives from Chinatown early in the day, and by the mid-afternoon, you've got a piece of plywood set up in their backyard, and you're all just standing there, just taking turns throwing. And
there's always a kid at school who like stole a butterfly knife from his brother or something like that. It's like, whoa. And you're at public school and some kid pulls out a butterfly knife on the field. Look what I've got.
See, and ours was usually like
looking around like
brutal media. It was like, he doesn't have the butterfly knife, but he has Faces of Death on VHS.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, that was me with CKY videos. Jackass comes up too much. It's too much a part of my life.
The first time I went to like a proper party, like some, jackass like high school kid like put Gigi Allen on it on the TV or something like that, and I'm sitting there like, what is this? I'm watching some dude nail a board into his dick or something like that. But this is like
the new game show. Is this Gigi Allen or Steve-O?
Right. There's something sick about teenage boys where we're like, we need to see this stuff. Like we seek it out. We need to see like
there's something wrong with
you got a devil inside you.
Sick.
And you just gotta like take a look in the abyss. And then you come back out and actually it turns out just D&D for me. Or in my case, it was like, actually I just want to talk about guitar bullshit. I have
a theory, and maybe some anthropological biologists out there will refute this or say that I'm on the right track or something like that. I have a theory that teenagers are awful by way of biology, because it used to be we all lived in little tribes and stuff like that, and to ensure a healthy tribe, people have to leave and new people have to come in. You have to have genetic diversity. So I think when you hit those teenage years, you're either fine and you get to stay in the tribe, or you become so awful that they kick you out, or you're one of those teens that's like, I hate everyone, I'm running away. So you just run as far as you can go, and eventually you mellow out and you find another tribe and you're like, yeah, these guys aren't like like my family. I hate those guys. Like that's what we're supposed to be.
That's interesting. That's so real. Like it is so hardwired in. Man, I'd never thought of that way.
Like we're supposed to leave. Or we're supposed to get evicted.
Wired to get. I like the idea that the body decides it's like either like I need to go seek something, or your body's like, I'm not going to move. I better be awful until people make me leave.
Right. It's just something about that
jerk gene.
That hormone dump that turns you into a monster, and like you have to be ejected from the tribe or find your own way so that you can add to the genetic diversity of the tribe 20 miles away or whatever.
I worked for many years in education. I've specialized in like middle school kids. I was like an after school tutor. I was a different theater teacher and stuff like that. And I think I specialized in that period because I have always kind of had the soft spot for that age, because you feel terrible and everything is awful and whatever. Yeah. And like, I have found that like, I don't know if part of me ever fully got out of that. So I have some level of empathy. And then on top of that, it's like, I don't know, there's something to it that I've always sort of found is like, hey man, I get where you're at. You need to yell 10% less, because I found that like if I talk to them vaguely like a person, they're yelled at so often because they're the worst, that if somebody talks to you like a person after you're being the worst, they're so not used to that you fry their fucking brain. And now you're a whole different kind of person they don't understand.
Right.
Because you're not a kid their age, but you look like an adult, but you don't yell like an adult. You seem to think a different way, and they're just like confounded. And that was a lot of fun. That was the secret. But you have to have patience and know some shit about Assassin's Creed and Twilight.
You talk to them with the voice that's already inside their head, and they're like, that can come from outside my head. You know?
So pop culture and meanness.
Yeah.
It was that's truly like, I think, comedians love to post now the videos of like them on stage, like tearing apart somebody in the audience. And I've just never had that fetish, because it's like, once you've been a teacher, you've done that every day for a year, like for 6 hours a day. So it's like every time I watch, it's like, oh, cool, you yelled at one drunk kid, 40 middle school kids. I fucking dare you.
That would be a great comedy special, like having to perform in front of a high school class.
Oh, that's pretty good. All right,
wow.
That'd be pretty good. And like you're filming the class, and you're like the camera just keeps going to the kids. It's just like carving in the desk.
I mean, literally, I can't pitch that. Actually, I've not talked about that publicly.
There's that kid that always slouches so far that they're like laying down.
Well, my least favorite has always been like high school seniors, because they are truly the worst, because they know absolutely everything. What could you possibly tell them? Everything. They've got
already accepted into college, or they know exactly why they're not going to college, and they know everything.
And it's they are so not interested. And it's one of those fun things too, because it's not even like I can look at it and go like, but I wasn't that way at that age. I'm like, oh God, I was so beyond that. And it's nice though, because I remember how quickly I was humbled. And so I'm just like, it's fine, guys. Enjoy June of this year.
Right.
Then you just hit on and you just hear, right here, right now.
The most humbling thing for me is like getting all the way through college, get that bachelor's degree, and then you graduate, and the day after you graduate, and you don't have any prospects lined up yet, and you're like, oh fuck.
You're talking to a fellow who graduated college after having a grad school program dissolve around him weeks before graduating at the height of the 2009 recession.
Oh,
it was a real adventure.
I went to graphic design school, which is already a recipe for disaster. And so like I graduated, and then it's just this like sinking feeling where I'm searching for jobs. It's like, did I just throw away, 40 grand?
Luckily, magazines will be around forever.
I thought I was going to work for a magazine. Like that's what they're telling you the whole time you're in graphic design school. Yeah. No, every, oh my gosh. I made quite a living for a while doing graphic design. And one of the key parts of being a freelance graphic designer is that every other freaking high schooler or college kid that thinks that they're going to start an apparel company hits you up, and they're like,
God,
you know exactly the kid I'm talking about. Like they come up with some name, they draw it on their notebook enough times, like, this is my brand. I came up with a t-shirt brand. And then they have to find someone to do the art. And so then they start hitting me up, a freelance graphic designer, like, hey, I'm starting an apparel company. Yeah, sure you are.
That's just wild to me. I am the king of weird, sketchy schemes, but an apparel company has even been too much. It's like apparel companies and restaurants or things where I'm like, even I, a fool, would not do such a thing.
And like, for like almost 4 years, I actually worked for a legitimate apparel company that sold to all the major like department stores and stuff like that. And so I worked on licenses and stuff. I worked on licenses with Nissan and Sonic and Family Guy, and Ziggy was a license.
Wait, what?
I know Ziggy.
How are the Ziggy people to work with?
Like I still like,
you could never get them on email. They were zigging and zagging.
The owner was so excited when we got the Ziggy license, and we were like, what are we supposed to do with this?
Oh my God, that rules.
Put a calendar out before somebody else puts out a Ziggy calendar, and that's about it.
But then like
Ziggy Peen on Calvin.
I quit that. I quit doing legitimate apparel design work and I go freelance. And all of a sudden I'm getting all these emails from like high school and college kids that have some inside joke with their friends or some name they came up with. And now they think they have a t-shirt brand. They're going to go big. This is going to be the next, like thing that, Kanye West wears or whatever. And it's just like, okay, I'll make the art for you. I know you're never going to print this. And it's like, I bled high schoolers dry of, like at $500 at a time. And I still don't feel bad about it. I hope they learned a life lesson.
It's the second they say
their parents learned a
company,
lesson. Maybe we shouldn't just give our kid all the money.
Yeah. Kids out there, if you're watching, if you're listening, high schoolers, college age kids, you're not starting the hot new t-shirt company. You're just not. You're not.
Vote the club instead.
Yeah, go work for an apparel company and see what it's actually like. And then after you've met a bunch of screen printers and stuff and people inside the industry, then think about it. If you don't hate yourself after 2 years of working in the apparel industry, then think about going and starting your own thing. Don't start it from scratch. You don't know what you're doing.
If anything, apprentice at a print studio for screen printing, just for the workout.
I personally enjoy screen printing.
And there's something about graphic design folk that I find that with it. So a weird thing, Laura, who I live with, who is from your neck of the woods. Every time she goes home, she brings me back Kotihan.
Nice.
I absolutely love that place. It is my favorite thing in all of San Diego.
That's what Steve and I eat every podcasting session. That's what we get.
One that you guys mentioned when you mentioned. Oh my gosh. That warms my heart over. Oh my gosh. I love it so much. That orange.
They only get the order wrong about 30% of the time. And we keep going.
They did it for the first time to me recently, and it's like that was like they're batting like 999 for me. Like it was the first time I was like, Kotihan got it wrong. Wow.
They always forget the carrots or something like that.
Well, what can you do? What can you do?
You're still gonna go back,
Oh heck yeah, I am.
Yeah. So I interrupted your story.
So, no, good. So Laura, she's graphic design. That's what she does for a living. But she was way into screen printing when she was in like high school and college, and just everybody. And I also lived with 3 different graphic designers at different points in college. Like for whatever reason, me and graphic designers just get along.
See, and this is the funniest thing to me.
Loved screen print.
I hate to break it to you, but you kind of sound like a loser. Like you shouldn't tell people that. Graphic designers love me. Ooh.
Yeah. Yep. See, I don't bother them while they have to do 100 versions of a logo.
So January of this year, our first episode was a dear friend of ours from Canada who has his own marketing company, but he comes from being a graphic designer. And I learned what graphic design is. I literally did not know. Right. They think I'm making fun of them because his girlfriend's on the episode too. Like they think I'm making fun of them because I'm like, is that a thing? And I did not know how ignorant I was on the sheer concept of what graphic design is until January 2022.
I think most people are probably that way. And for a while, it became like the thing to like dunk on someone and be like, oh, that's probably a graphic designer, really a barista, right? Like
I was just sitting there as a sound engineer going like, yeah, what an asshole.
Yeah. But it's like, it is a real job, and it's like if you do it in, there's always like the
5 books in my vision right now where I'm trying to learn what everybody has already known about.
There's always like, there's a lot of local kids out there that took a couple classes and they're a graphic designer now and they learned how to code websites and they're, doing that sort of thing. But there's like very legitimate business people and career people who are graphic designers, it is an interesting range of people. I'll say that. Like, it's advertising, but it's also like your nephew is doing it and maybe you can pay him $50 to make you a website landing page or something like that, like it either costs $250,000 to get started or someone who will make you a logo for $50. Like there's a really wide range there.
Nope. I didn't know visual arts people.
Right.
Just worthless musicians.
I I mean, aren't all artists worthless?
I do,
or at least their bank account feels.
By the
worthless.
way, like normally I feel like I'm pulling the flex with my single guitar in the background, and don't think I've not admired this setup the whole time.
I pared everything down. I want to say like a year or so ago. I used to have the entire wall behind me completely filled, and I moved all that to the wall across from me because it made me feel self-conscious having that many guitars in shot all the time. The audio listeners have no idea what we're talking about, but I run a guitar YouTube channel, and I've got a lot of guitars around here. It's bad. It's really bad.
So I'll give like my background real quick. Just that. So I am a comedian and writer now. I came originally from doing music for many years, from kind of early high school through college, and kind of just out of college. The whole thing was like, I want to be a musician. I want to play songs, do this stuff. And then I just sort of like burnt out hard. It kind of flamed out. And I fully fell off of it for a few years, started doing stand-up and some video stuff, fell into the world of podcasting, kind of ass backwards, stumbled from podcasting and stand-up, being a fan of podcasting and doing stand-up, walked into this Nerd Melt theater kind of right as the comedy boom was starting, and fell in with the Nerdist podcast, and then literally fell into the Nerdist podcast and did that for 5 years, and then left from there to other jobs. And then have in maybe the last 5 years, I started scoring sketches and short film stuff, and then dated a girl who was a bass player. So we did like a power pop band for a minute. And then like now it's kind of back in my life, especially since most of what I do now because of podcasting is like sound engineering. So it's like comedy and sound engineering are the two games. And like getting a band going again now. And like the joke has been Burnside, and maybe the year before COVID going forward, both of us kind of fell back into guitar in a big bad way and discovered you and JHS and a couple other pieces like that. And truly it became like a whole other beautiful version, and especially like losing Meltdown and losing some of the live venue stuff we've had, with the world and just stuff in general. It has been so fun. Like I've made the joke, I've redone my pedal board twice since the world shut down.
I
only
it
twice?
every week.
Well, here's the ultimate irony now is the band I'm playing in now, I'm playing bass. And I am letting like the guitar player, I just gave him my board, and it's a real bittersweet thing because it sounds so fucking good. But I'm also just like, I also had to label my always ons because he was pushing things and I was dying inside. And the problem is I'm running the bass muff with mine because I like a real kind of end whistle crunch to things. And the bass muff can do everything. It's reduced all fun for me on the pedal front because it's got a great DI. It goes through. It's got the high pass low. Like it's literally, I have a octavizer, and outside of that, I'm just like, oh, bass is simple, and you can't make near as many dumb bullshit things with a bunch of pedals. But it's been a ton of fun then to kind of focus on the playing and shit. And so, but so I'm excited. This is happening kind of a perfect time because I've been more playing music. Oh, and then beyond that, my family, my dad is bass player, has played forever. My brother is a sound engineer and kind of plays everything. And when I was in high school, my mom had to deal with, my dad had a band, I had a band, my brother had a band. So at least 3 nights a week, there was bands playing in the living room.
That's awesome.
So she opted to opt out of a kitchen remodel, and instead we hollowed out our garage and built a full recording studio.
Coolest mom in the world.
It's and it's mostly was so that she could watch TV mid-evening. But
we got to get the bands out of here. Let's get you in the garage.
And what's funny though is like my brother, my dad, and I, none of us knew anything about like recording stuff or anything. We just knew playing instruments and gear and like running live shows. Like I've known how to run a PA since I was like 14. But like, which I also make the joke in Los Angeles, like the way that you don't go broke in this industry is know how to plug microphones in. Somebody rich somewhere doesn't know and will pay you to do so.
Oh, totally. Oh my gosh.
And so over that run of years, like I started kind of spearheading it, and then my brother really kind of ran with it, but like learning how to the process recording right at the start of digital. This is like 2003. So like we had the VST 2400 was our first little studio in a box, watching the shitty ass video rolling DVD puts out of this Australian guy not explaining any of my questions. And like the joke has become over the years, my brother hates it because about every 6 months I do the same monologue of like, I look at my H6, this fucking thing that is in the palm of my hand, and it is more powerful than thousands and thousands of dollars worth of shit I've recorded on over the years. Like the digital prosumer revolution has been something that, like, as somebody who across video and audio has carried through this past decade with it. It's
bonkers.
It's amazing.
Totally bonkers.
I could not possibly fucking fathom explaining any of this stuff to me at like 15 in 2003 and just being like, you don't even know. Everything is going to change in a way where like you just have all the stuff eventually, and it didn't even break your bank.
So I recorded everything, every piece of audio I recorded for my podcast and for just YouTube demos and stuff like that, which it equates to like 1,500 videos or something like that. For 7 years, I recorded everything with an H6.
It's the greatest.
It never failed me once. If it runs out of battery, you don't lose your file. Right. It's still there, just where you left it. Like
cut.
I wore the labels off the buttons. Like you can't read them anymore because I press record so many times. I have an H8 now, and it's just as good as not better. Like it's amazing where we're at. It's amazing.
I maintain, I think the Zoom H4n is the most significant product in sound in the last 10, 20 years. Like, I think that thing sets a tone for everything that comes after it and is what everybody needed. It's crazy to me that thing goes, podcasting changes, home recording changes, like, and everything iterates off of that. I feel like it's really underestimated how much that single piece of gear fucking just changes everything.
You can just record stuff anywhere. It
sounds wild. Good, and it's easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I have
even
one
at a Ren fair.
I'm gonna show you guys something real quick. Have you grab it?
Oh, we're getting shown stuff. This is exciting.
So no one else has seen this yet, except for like one person I sent a photo to. I'm going to NAMM this week.
Oh, I'll see you there if you're there on Sunday.
For the listeners that know,
you're gonna be
it's
there,
like it's a big music gear convention. And I usually haul this whole rig with me to film and record guitars and stuff when I'm at this. And it consists of a Line 6 product mounted to a camera rig with batteries and stuff like that. I was like, I want to move around. I want to travel a little bit lighter. So I got one of the Zoom F3s. I don't know if you've seen those.
I have not seen one in person yet. I've just been seeing
I made a guitar strap that has my entire audio recording rig on it.
Yo, what?
It starts. I've been using this forever. It's a Sennheiser broadcaster headphone rig. This is what like sportscasters use. So it has like a really
got the foam ball, but it's got a good pickup on it.
The bi-directional thing.
Yeah.
I got this because of like sportscaster headset. They're usually somewhere really loud and you can still hear them. I'm going to be at NAMM. I need that.
Yeah.
So I've used this for a bunch of NAMMs and a bunch of other things. It never lets me down. So that's plugged in. The Zoom F3 only takes 2 inputs. So I'm running an adapter off a Boss Pocket GT.
Oh shit.
That's my guitar rig. So I have this thing all like zip tied together and stuff like that. The headphones with the mic attached, the guitar thing with the guitar cable coming out of it, and on the other end of the strap is the guitar plug.
Oh my God.
So this is a standalone, and I've recorded with it already and edited it and been like, this might sound better than my H8. Like it sounds really good.
Shit.
These F3s, what I think it's called DAP 30 or something like that, the file format, you don't adjust the levels.
Oh, because it's got the 32 float.
The 32 float, that's it. You cannot peak it.
Yeah.
You cannot.
That's going to be standard in 2 years. Then you can't recording changes again. Yeah.
You can't clip it. You don't have to adjust the audio levels because you literally can't clip it. There's no way to adjust it.
For those listening, I'm just going to explain this because this is a magic thing, and Burnside's making a magic face right now.
I didn't know that this 32-point float shit that I've heard mention of has anything to do with this. Because
that's what this is. I had to finally look it up because I just kept hearing people throw jargon around. I was like, I'm gonna find out what this means. I was like, oh, that's exciting. But for those listening, when you record things back in the day, when you used to record things on audio tape and things got loud, you got to think you got distortion, which sounded cool. And if you listen to like the Velvet Underground or the Who, you hear versions of that. Fortunately, when you shifted to digital, the distortion type does not stay the same. And instead you get is digital clipping, which is the worst sound in the world.
Ass.
And for years, this has been the bane of everybody's existence, is you're having to totally kind of like figure out ways to ride volume on things. And it's very, very easy in a loud environment or something that's really complicated that you can get unusable audio off of it. And it's incredibly frustrating because you can't really fix digitally fucked up audio. Like it's you can do your best, and Lord knows there's plugins where we've been trying to fight God's will all this time. But this idea of this float is called 32-bit float. It makes it so that it's recording in such a way that it has like an elasticity to its volume setup, so that it cannot actually like clip out, so that you don't have to sit and ride a knob the whole time. When you get into post, you can adjust.
That's what she said.
It's going to sound normal. Well done.
It freaked me out the first couple times I recorded with it, because it's got a little LCD screen on it, and everything I'm recording with guitar just looks like a square wave. I'm like, there's no way this is going to be anything at all. And there's no adjustment on here. I can't do anything with this. And I plug it into the computer. I'm like, oh yeah, there it is. It's all yellow and red. It's all maxed out. And then I drag down the slider. And like, holy hell, it's all there. It's all clean.
God,
there's no distortion on anything. There's no clipping on any of it. Like I have the F3. I want to get the bigger one now that records, 4 tracks at a time. It's like, this is amazing.
Throw a piece that's been for like travel stuff and stuff has been the best money I've spent, is that Rode Wireless Go, the like single wireless transmitter thing, because there's almost no latency on it.
Yeah.
And so like I laugh, I bought it thinking I'd shoot a bunch of video shit with it. I have used it for everything else. I have run groove boxes wirelessly where I'll like tape that to it so I can walk around or move around with that playing from a speaker. I do a 4th of July party where we show a movie, and I now run that to the mixer from the projector to our PA, and instead of having to run cable, like it is magic. Like,
those things are awesome. Like,
and that's and the 2s have 30-bit float in the double one too, which kind of broke my brain. So I haven't chased that yet, but that's when I've been trying to figure out because I want to do some similar like travel piece stuff, and I've been thinking like a cable stuff where I could just break and use this.
Putting it all on that strap though,
it's gonna be wild.
Sick.
It's an adventure.
It's a little bit uncomfortable. It doesn't feel natural, and it's like the heaviest strap ever. But I think the spectacle of it is going to be amazing. The fact that it's all like right there on the front of my shoulder, so you're going to see it. You're going to see me going through the presets on the Boss thing and whatnot. You're going to see the little waveform on the recorder. I look like
that's cool.
I look like Darth Vader or something when I'm wearing it, because it's like just all the wires and cables and plugs and little screens and lights.
I'll keep an eye out for you where I see whoever's got the robot Chewbacca belt going.
Probably gonna get super sick of it like 2 hours in and just give up.
And Nam, you'd want to abandon something. I've been 2 or 3 times now, and then I'm going with my brother. I'll not say where he works on mic, but he works for a company. Let's say that it's rodent based and sound like.
Okay.
And so rolling with him to Nam. He was like, I have to work this time. You can't just poke around. I'm like, that's fine. I still will. But it's I'm excited because I haven't been back since I think like 2018 or something like that. And it's mostly just me going like, I don't know who's there, but I hope Teen Engineering are, because I said them and Zoom both have new high-end mixers that I'm excited about. And I've hit the sad old man version of going to NAMM where it's not even guitars anymore. It's just 2 really nice mixers I'd like to get.
So you just kind of stand there and look at it like, yeah, it's really nice. Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad I hold it, heft it for weight, see if it's going to fit in a box or a bag.
I'm glad I came because this is really nice. Yeah. And then you talk to the guy working at the booth and you just say, yeah, it's really nice. And he's like, yeah, I know it's really nice. And you just say that back. He doesn't care because he looks busy, Yeah, I think I'm gonna get one of these. Yeah, you should get one of these. Yeah, totally.
It's fun. Just sometimes you try to feel like, should I walk to make it look like I'm a vendor? And then I look at myself in the mirror and go, no one thinks I own a business. Especially older versions of me that are a little longer haired and beardier. They're like, no, he doesn't have a business license.
It's weird going as media because you get the media badge. And then some people know who you are, but not everyone, but they see media and they have no idea. They're like, oh, this could be like someone I should care about. It could be no one. And they all treat you like you might be someone significant. And it's like, it's a little bit different.
Do you ever fuck with them and give them the wrong YouTube music credit? Or you're like, I'm Johnny from Rig Rundowns or some shit.
No, I say who I am. It's bad for business to say who I am. And I don't know why I keep doing that. No. Honestly, you could get a media badge. You got a podcast here.
We're getting better at that. About that. I have a friend who has posed as our media person to get free stuff for us to go to before, and I'm always kind of impressed at the balls that she has to do so. They
are crazy thirsty for media people to be there this year.
Okay.
Like, so if you went
really?
right now onto their website and signed up, I guarantee you, like same day you'd get
Ooh,
approved.
Burnside, you might
probably.
want to look into that.
Oh man, when is it again?
This
weekend.
week, Friday
Oh,
and
geez.
Saturday.
Oh gosh.
It's a grand venture for
This
those.
is in Vegas?
No, this is in Anaheim.
This is
Oh,
Anaheim.
they're in
Anaheim, baby.
Anaheim. That's right.
For those listening, NAM is the North American Music Merchants Expo,
Yeah.
and it's all of the new music. It's basically like E3, but for music gear.
Yeah.
This one's gonna.
E3 was my stomping ground. I've been to E3.
Yeah, he's a video game
times.
industry boy.
And because I also had worked for Nerdist, and then at a certain point stopped working for Nerdist, and I was working for the Indoor Kids podcast, and that one was hosted by Kumail Nanjiani.
Nice.
And Kumail was popping at the time and just starting to, and so people would just like, oh, you're with that show, and I'd be even to their face and go, just so you know, no one will ever see anything that you try to show me because we're audio only, and my segment is 15 minutes long at most. I'll probably never talk about this.
Never
And they'll
underestimate.
be like, we don't care. Come in and then tell Kumail about it.
Right.
Yeah. They would just like, so the red carpet would roll out left and right. I was as professional as I could possibly be in letting them know, you're just being used right now for my entertainment, and that's about it. And they were like, we don't care. And man, it's weird going to anything of a structured like that without like a media pass that feels like it's made out of gold, because you just get so used to just like lines.
Right.
You fools.
when I was in apparel, we used to go to this convention called ASR, which was Action Sports Retailers, and it was all your Billabongs and
oh my gosh,
all that sorts of stuff.
All your Volcoms
and your Hurleys and everything attached to that.
So where in Dana Point did this event happen?
It was in San Diego. But like, I was nobody. I was, this like brand new graphic designer going to this thing, but I was totally trying to scam every every booth person out of like free swag and free stuff and things like that. I talked to the GoPro guy there probably for like 20 minutes. It was like when GoPros were film cameras.
I am obsessed with the film GoPro camera.
It was a disposable camera that strapped to your wrist, and
I remember them because
casing.
The first time I ever saw that shit was when they were filming Lords of Dogtown.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm a real nerd for that bullshit. Like, I was hyped for that movie, and they just kept showing, like, Catherine Hardwicke would just be like, we're putting these tiny brand new cameros onto skateboards so you can get like skateboard POV shots. And people I'm like, man,
and
attaching
those were
a
analog
camera
done?
Yeah.
Wow.
Digital
no
video
clue.
was barely
like what they had when I saw them, it wasn't video. It was they were disposable photo cameras. Like that's all GoPro was. And
so it was just like it did it specialize in like making the picture viewable?
No, you had to develop it.
But I mean, like
an asshole.
No,
but
it
like,
wasn't a
but
camera.
it was still
a
made
video
so
camera. It was photos only. It was
but
like,
did you like? Would you have to like to use the camera? Would you have to freeze in place?
No,
and, like tell people to like say cheese.
No, it was meant to be on your wrist, and you take pictures when you're out surfing, sort of thing. And I was standing there like talking to the guy, and I had just got my first digital camera, which is like this Canon thing, which like I think was like 1.5 megapixels, which I thought was amazing, and it was.
Oh
it was
yeah,
amazing.
$700 power shot at the time.
Right, and I just had gotten that, and I was excited about it. I was like, you guys should try like putting a digital camera in one of these things. And he looked at me and he's like, we're working on that next. And like, he gives me this wink. And like, if like credits could have rolled and music could have played, like that would have
been. Also, I like this shitty origin movie that's the history of GoPro up before they become the thing people care about.
Oh, you know what's weird about guitar industry talk? Shoot, what's the name of the company? They make a looper and they make the Beat Buddy. You know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
The Beat Buddy. That's not.
It's like a drum machine pedal. It's not.
Is it that cheaper one? Is that Flamma or something like that?
No. I forget the name of the company, but it's the guy who owns it and runs it is one of the dudes who was in that movie. It's not the actor. It's the the dude the movie was based on, that was the movie about like gun runners in Afghanistan, and like Jonah Hill was in it.
Oh shit, really? He's the War Dogs guy?
Yeah, he's the War Dogs guy, and he started a gear company, and he makes a looper pedal and a beat buddy, and
The
he makes
Beat
like
Buddy
these singular sound.
That's it. It's the only pedal that I've ever known existed because it advertised aggressively on Facebook.
It really did. It's a fun pedal. The Beat Buddy's fun.
I went through a period where I was real obsessed with drum machines. I still love them, but like I kind of like rode it to the end.
Right.
and that was one of those ones at the time where I was like, a guitar pedal drum machine, that's it. Like and then it was sort of like, maybe not. Like this feels like a real like
I
turn
think
it
it's
on.
a really good tool for like songwriting.
Yeah.
And it would be a completely functional tool for like your singer songwriter performer that just needs like something to fatten out their stage thing a little bit, because you can play parts with it. You can get an external switch and scroll through presets and whatever. You can do like verse, chorus, second verse, bridge, drum parts or whatever. So it is kind of intuitive in that way, but it is like once you get it and you start messing with it, you're like, oh yeah, this is fun, but like I play guitar. I don't you know, like even thinking about this while I'm playing is turning me into a drummer, and that's not that's not what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah, it's a weird moment, and I think like I imagine many musicians hit this odd thing where it was like, oh yeah, for the singer songwriter type, and then you start trying to play with something like that, like it turns out I am not the singer songwriter type.
Yeah. And the people who are doing the thing with a looper where they're playing drums on the top of the guitar and doing that.
They saw that Rodrigo and Gabriella move, and we're like, oh, this is who we are now.
Exactly.
It's
I used to go to open mic nights regularly, and when that stuff started happening, it was like a disease that spread through open mic nights. It's just like the people double tapping acoustic guitars and like palm slapping it and stuff like that, then doing loopers with the drum beats and stuff, and it's just like it became what everyone was doing. It's like,
friend, let me tell you about a man named Reggie Watts and the effect he had on horrible open mic comedians for a few years there.
Oh boy.
Have you ever heard what somebody would do if they're looping the sound of fake diarrheaing on stage for 3 minutes at an open mic? Because I have more than once. That means that guy was working on that bit more than one time. He was like, I got to refine this.
Right. It's getting better. The guy in the back, I was reaching him. Next time I'll get two.
Fuck thing is, he's getting better at the loop. So you're like, he's learning, but in the worst way.
Like that whole genre where like a style comes out and now everyone's doing that style, but like I don't think any of it was songs. Not once was it a song. It was like it was like a jam, which is fine. It's impressive to watch someone do it. And they were putting these people, on late night shows and stuff like that. Oh, let's wheel this person out here and they're going to play acoustic guitar, slapping it and stuff. And there's a loop involved, and then they're playing bongos on their guitar or whatever. But I don't think ever once it was a song.
Well, the thing they cut out is everybody standing up going, "This ain't Dave Matthews. Get out of
here." Well, it's the weird thing, and it's guitar has a long, proud history of this. Is the cool thing that is appropriate nowhere.
Yeah.
And as somebody who's bought into many of those and talked themselves out of many of those, I mean, let's say the talk box being a great example. Like,
did you have a talk box at one point?
I did not. That's one of the ones I talked myself out
the
of.
Grossest piece of musical gear there is on the planet. Disgusting. Just disgusting.
I didn't really appreciate how much the medical tube plays into it. And that was really the sort of like, somebody gave me that sort of like hollowed eyed look of just know the tube gets gross. Really gross. Like you don't resell them. You buy your talk box new. You don't buy a used talk box ever, because you're gonna catch something. And then you go, all right, guys, who's ready for a guitar band, a rock band with the really heavy talk box elements? Oh my gosh! And talk about something you have to build an entire rig around. And if you're smart, you'll feature it for about 15 seconds in one song in your entire set. If you build a set around sweet emotion going, if you build an entire set around a talk box, no one's gonna like your music. It's too much. And it's that whole subworld of gears like that. I have the, and even as I'm making fun of all of this, my brain just went like, well, I can't list that example. I'll definitely do something with it one day. But like I have the Mel 9.
Oh yeah, the Mel 9.
Which, because I love a Mellotron, but wouldn't you want to play it with a guitar? Because everyone likes that. And
I don't want to buy a Mellotron. I play guitar.
I had a friend point out to me one cool thing about the Mellotron, which is haunting. Like sometimes somebody just gives you a fact, is like all those are recorded pieces. And every person who recorded their sample from the Mellotron's master audio is dead. So you literally have a piano full of ghost sounds.
Yeah. Those like clap tracks. Anytime you hear like a laugh track on a show, it's like,
yeah,
those were recorded 80 years ago. Those people are dead now.
And they were all killed right after the taping.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's part of it. You know, they signed
I never really thought about that. When is the last time that anyone has needed to record a new laugh track?
They're not gonna they keep using the same ones, because they don't have to pay licensing on it. Like you know, someone out there recorded a bunch of laugh track stuff. They're not going to use that because they know they're going to have to pay for it.
Man,
and the old stuff works. It sounds good. It works.
Dead people.
It's not
even thought about it. So
it's not even like it has to be realistic laughing, because it's not what it's for. It's just to tell you this is the funny part. Here it is. Here's the funny part. You know, as you're watching
trick
Big
you
Bang.
into laughing. Yeah, I was just gonna say trick you into laughing at Big Bang Theory.
Right. No, you don't. You still don't laugh, but you're told when the funny parts are. So you're like, this must be a really funny show.
I should start doing that with my stand-up act. I really see now where I fucked up all this time. Next
laugh track it.
Next record, I'm putting a full laugh track over the audience. I'm gonna leave the audience track in, but then I'm going to put a separate layer of laugh track where I think the joke is good and they did like parts that didn't pop. I'm just gonna put extra compensating laughter for the obscure tag that was just for me.
Are we gonna find out anybody recorded a comedy album during quarantine that didn't actually have an audience and they faked the whole thing?
Bo Burnham did that one where he's inside.
But I mean, like he doesn't have a laugh track. He doesn't count because he's like a comedy artist. He's like a different thing.
I haven't watched like late night talk shows in a really long time, and I know like I've seen clips here and there of like Trevor Noah and whoever else. The COVID late night vibe is really weird.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
that got strange.
The no audience, like there's maybe 2 people on set, so the lighting is weird, sort of thing. Like it's a weird vibe.
As a former audience coordinator and warm-up comedian, I can tell you it's a real bummer.
Well, you need that energy. You really do.
Yeah, I agree. Television disagrees. How can you have a show unless the audience is warmed up and coordinated?
Yeah, has the Daily Show brought people back? Like I know, like the Tonight Show and stuff like that.
God,
they have crowds.
I hate that. Like that we just keep throwing this "no one laugh at the Daily Show" thing here, and I have to keep not making the joke.
Even if the audience is there,
just like, is the audience there? How could you tell?
Laughing as a musician that's used to playing to empty bars.
Oh yes.
let's dunk on the people who have nationally aired cable comedy shows.
Given what we should veer into our topic at some point, where my experience comes from, I'm really not at a place to make fun of any artist performing in front of anyone, or really not anyone at all, because this guy was in a ska band named Jamaican Bacon.
Whoa, that's awesome. Jamaican Bacon. That's
okay. It was a choice.
That is a
choice the other
choice.
Members of the band made before the horn section joined, and the 3 of us were like, you sure you don't want to have a conversation about anything else? Nope. All right, fine, whatever. I just want to play some music. And at that point in time, I was like, this is going to last for 2 weeks anyway, right? Flash forward to like 5 years later, we're like, I guess we got to hang it up. But we really gave it a go, non-fucking stop this whole time, and we never changed our name. Can you imagine that?
Jamaican Bacon.
Yep.
Kids these days will never understand what it was like to live in a time when it was socially acceptable to start a ska band. I wish I had started a ska band. I wanted to be in a ska band so bad.
Oh man.
Well, now ska's
back. It's
I know.
back.
There's a nice little revival going.
Here's my theory. As long as there's high school marching bands, there will be ska.
Yes.
You're goddamn right. Absolutely.
100%.
until the last
100%.
Aquabats record and Band Kid are dead and unable to connect.
Right.
Yep.
As long as there's band kids playing a tuba or trombone somewhere, they're gonna be like, I can do this thing. And how do I be cool? Like, what's cool that I can do with this? And they're gonna find ska, and that's they're gonna do it. They're just gonna
They'll
do
think
it.
it's cool, and then there's going to be a certain point where one of the people, one of the horn players, is going to start smoking cigarettes on stage in between while they're playing it, because that's them really trying to recapture.
And
the
then
groove.
they become the
And
coolest ska band.
I knew a lot of horn players. I had a buddy. I loved his band. He had a ska band called Caddy Wampus.
That's a good name,
right? And he played sax in that, and he would definitely like smoke cigarellos and stuff on stage in between. It was that combination of like, fuck you, I'm in a ska band, I could be cool, but I'm also just turned 19.
There was a period of time, the sweet spot of about like 6 months, where bands that previously had not been ska bands were like, can we be a ska band?
Yeah, can we fuck with that?
I mean,
and then they saw how like the pay has to get distributed, and they were like,
right.
What? No, kick these out again.
Yeah. I've heard, because during that same period of the 90s, like there was the swing revival and big band revival and stuff. I've heard that the biggest reason that didn't last is because bars and venues got pissed because everyone shows up to dance, and none of those dancing people buy drinks.
Oh, shit.
You can't dance that way and be drunk.
Swing dance hammered.
Oh yeah. I never
And
thought about that. That makes a lot of sense.
Now I want to see that, because the destructive force of jackass swing dancers who are also shithoused is, look out, floor is lava. We got a new show.
Right.
We put 2 hammered swing dancers into a room full of breakable shit, and you have the length of Jump, Jive, and Wail to destroy as much as you can. Every episode's featuring Brian Setzer singing Jump, Jive, and Wail a different way.